When I came down here to seminary, I invited young people to go to church with me, and they, time and time again, would refuse. And I would ask them why. And they would always come back with one of three answers. Either it's too boring, it's irrelevant, or there's no one there like me. And so I really felt the leading of the Lord to start a church that would address those three issues.
And we're in a city in Detroit where we're in the top 3 of the highest murders in the country, top 3 drug problems. Our inner city high schools have metal detectors at the doors because kids bring guns and knives in and they have to check them before they can get in. And we sat down and said, how can we utilize the platform of pro athletes, even losing pro athletes, and get into where the real battle is?
Recently, I did some research and discovered that drama really has been one of the least employed, least effective tools of the church. And I think people today even have the stigma that church drama is going to be hokey, it's going to be done in basements, it's going to be done by shepherds in bathrobes, that kind of thing. And so we've tried to take the drama aspect and the evangelical approach out of the church basement and out into the community.
Perhaps the best way to evaluate a seminary is to look at its product. Since its beginning in 1978, the International School of Theology has produced graduates uniquely prepared for ministries across our country and around the world. Graduates apply their education in a variety of ministries. Dave and Ann Wilson are working with professional athletes in Detroit, Michigan.
But the school, as you have heard before, taught me to think biblically and also creatively, how I could take God's word and get it out to where the battle's really at. But we take the pros now, and we started this 3 years ago, into the high schools and compete against their best high school athletes in 6 events in a superstars-type competition. To have some fun, to make it creative, but in between the events, the guys stand up and share a message against drugs, alcohol, say no to drugs and alcohol, and to say yes to Jesus Christ. We did 2 this last week, and the week after the Super Bowl, we will be going into 70 high schools, virtually speaking to about 30,000 high school and junior high kids, with the message of the drug thing, but more importantly, the message of Christ.
The divorce rate among pro athletes is 70%. That is staggering, and we see it every day as we minister to these couples. Dave and I have a couples Bible study in our home with around 35 people, and these wives are eating it up. And we'll be talking about marriage, and these wives will be sitting there in the Bible study hitting their, do you hear that? Do you hear that? We need to be doing this stuff. And you know what? Those wives are making their husbands come because they want to have a strong marriage based on God's word.
The School of Theology encourages creative ministries. Wayne Scott uses his gifts in theatrical writing and directing to communicate the gospel through drama.
As I'm writing the dramas and the musicals that I put together, I'm able to draw on my curriculum and the classes that I have. In our most recent production here, which was called In the Presence of the King, we had 2,000 people come to hear the message here in the Bowl, who ordinarily might not set foot in a church simply because they're part of the huge theater-going constituency in this area.
He will die if we will hang him high. Hey! Kabosh, kaboom. Kabish, kabosh, kaboom. No hurt intended. Please do not weep. But your chronicles put folks to sleep.
Very well,
I think the School of Theology has a number of strengths. One that really stands out in my mind is the warm relationship between students and faculty. The faculty are very caring, but they're genuine in their caring. And when they ask questions, they listen for the answer because they really care about you and your spiritual walk. In fact, the whole atmosphere at the International School of Theology is one of caring. And one of the ways that's manifested is right in the classroom. Very often at the beginning, the instructor will simply say, hey, let's find out what's going on in each other's lives, and he'll conduct a season of prayer right there. Sometimes just sharing notes about how tough it is to be a student at the School of Theology because it's demanding. It's rigorous scholarly work.
The Lord gave Dieter and Val Zander a vision for a non-traditional church ministry to reach hundreds of young people with the timeless message of Christ.
The Lord had really impressed upon me the need to start a church for those people who are young singles and young marrieds, 2 years into my seminary program, my wife and I started the church. The School of Theology took a risk and said, well, we know it's going to take a lot of time, but it's going to contribute to your education. It was slow going at the front end, and yet 4 years later, we now have over 800 people. The average age is 27. 80% are single, and we hope to not only continue to pastor this church, but start other churches like it.
Dieter, I think, really wants people to know that Jesus really cares about them.
The messages are very dealing with things that young people my age deal with, and the music is great.
I think that it's amazing that a man of his age could be so effective.
I see they want to bring a church together. There's no possibility of division in this church. It seems as if we're working together as one and to fulfill the Great Commission.
The one thing I appreciate the most about my education at the School of Theology is knowing that I am equipped to be a partner to Dieter. We are married, we are in ministry together, and I want to be able to contribute to what we have chosen to do with our lives.
The School of Theology helped me to think biblically. It helped me to communicate biblically in the language of the people that I'm ministering to. And it also helped me to think strategically.
And I think also when you look at the name, the International School of Theology, the fact that they're committed to expansion overseas, and they already have campuses in other countries, and they want to do the same kind of education in other countries with the people from that country to be able to reach the needs of their own part of the world.
The United States doesn't need another school of theology, but it needs the International School of Theology because it's a different model for seminary training.
They have such a unique program for the wives. They're not only building into the wives the theology and the doctrine, but it's taking the practical, everyday things that we as wives and mothers go through.
People that I have known who have graduated from the International School of Theology have just been top-notch. I've just seen it as I've been a student with them and have seen Christ incarnate in their lives.
I'm so delighted to be associated with this fine institution. Biblical scholarship merged with practical ministry experiences, husbands and wives preparing together for a lifetime of ministry, an impact being felt across our country and around the world.